probably at least 10,000 or so in rebates that have come through recently. So I think we're looking, I think it'll be around that 30,000 by the end of the year. Furnace installation rebates, I guess, have also had an uptick recently, and had quite a few of those through this time around as well. The high efficiency lighting rebate actually has not slowed down at all. I did a count of that before I left. I have about $19,000 worth of high efficiency lighting rebates that have come in yet to be processed before the end of the year. So that one has done exceedingly well. I think that's good for our program on the whole. Outside of some of the industrial programs that tends to have the fastest paybacks and some of the lowest costs to us as well per watt saved. I guess holiday lighting, we're at about $1,275 spent. And that'll be going through the end of next week. So if you want to pick up chamber dollars for purchasing holiday LED lighting, stop into the New Ulm Public Utilities office. And then I guess the last one would be miscellaneous education. That's where I typically put our conservation calendar expenses. I don't have the the printing costs back yet, but the final version has been submitted to Corporate Graphics for printing, and I believe their estimated timeline is should be completed through the printing process by this Thursday.
You know what it was last year? It's got to be the same.
Oh, I don't have those numbers off the top of my head. I'm afraid I don't have that for you today.
Yeah.
But yeah, the costs have been pretty close to the same. It maybe goes up 100 or so per year out of maybe 6,000 or so, $7,000 printing cost. And I guess Eileen could potentially give us more information if she recalls those numbers.
We can move on to that if no one has any further questions or comments on the income and expense summary.
We're not doing any energy audits at all?
I guess that I do have some funds here, and I don't believe any new equipment needs to be purchased at this time. That is available, I guess, if we were to fall behind on energy auditing, to hire an outside firm. I guess this year, I don't know if that would be needed or not, so I wouldn't say there's been none. I certainly have gone out to a few properties, taken a look, done some walkthroughs.
Okay.
But no expenses associated with those energy audits.
Any other questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion's been made, seconded to approve the CIP income and expense summary. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now we'll move on to Eileen with our calendar preview. Thank
Okay.
you for being here.
Sure, thank you. Yep, I'm Eileen Madsen from Madsen Inc., and my company helps the public utilities with their educational and marketing materials. And as William said, the calendar has gone to press. It went to press December 2nd, and it should be in mailboxes next week, according to the printer. And I think you have it all loaded up. Otherwise, you can see it on your. Oops, what happened to it? On the screens in front of you. The process that we go through to get this going starts every year about the same time. As soon as we get done with one, we start the next one. We start putting on a call for photo submissions. And we do that via Facebook, website, advertising through the PowerFax, through the shopper, as well as the PUC newsletter. This year, we actually received more entries than prior years, so it is starting to, get a little bit more momentum. And sometimes I also go directly to the sources of people who I know are good photographers, and who might not know about it or might not be so inclined to enter unless I say, hey, I like these photos, and So that's why some of them do end up on the calendar who not necessarily might not have submitted. We also get photos from the Chamber of Commerce and the Park and Rec departments. Some individuals, they submit 1 or 2 photos, some submit 30. So it's kind of a process. We have a lot of photos to choose from a relatively small group of people. But like I said, more this year than in past years. I'm just going to scan through here. Calendar subjects are determined by the month generally that the rebate programs are available or make sense, including the tips. And this you can see we have little take note tips, and each month has got a conservation tip or some other type of safety or other informational tip. And William and I meet generally in September to get the ball rolling on this. It is kind of a process. It's a long process to weed through the photos and get the information for the dates and so forth. And so we determine, William does, I take notes, well, we confer on what goes where. And the layout and design process begins in October, usually. And we work with the city, Brown County Recycling, Chamber of Commerce, and Park and Rec, and they provide meeting dates and events. And then representatives from those entities, once the calendar is complete, on Madsen Inc. part, then they take part in the review process and proofing and so forth. And then it comes back to us, and then changes are made, then it goes back again. And it usually has about a 3 or 4 round effect until everyone signs off on it. This year, we did have to wait a little bit because there was some question in regard to meeting times and so forth, and we were waiting for some finalization of that. So I know there were some requests. I'm just going to skim through here, and you can, some requests that we have it out a little bit earlier. And that wasn't, we did try and do that this year, but because of the meeting dates and also the Chamber of Commerce events, we want to make sure that we have the most current information, because if we go too early to press, something's going to be incorrect. So, or left out. Let's see. Anything else? William, got any questions in regard to the process, the photos?
I guess I don't have any specific questions at this point, and we can, I guess after a comment or two from me, can open it up to commissioner questions and comments. I guess as you stated before, I think we had a lot of photo submissions this year, and I think a lot of good photos. This is probably the best year of photos that we've actually, or that we've received so far for the few years that we've done the calendar. But I'd still like to see even more individual submittees send photos in. And I think even, for a few of these photos, people thought maybe they weren't some of the best ones. And, we may have had a difference of opinion and selected them to be submitted into the calendar. So I would say even if you're worried you might not be the best photographer out there, still feel free to submit them. And
We'd make every effort to get everybody who submits a photo into the calendar. If we had 50 submissions, it might not be as possible, but, we don't get every photo that one individual submits, but we at least make sure that everybody who does submit is represented somewhere, whether it's a smaller photo or the larger feature photo. So, I don't believe there was anybody who submitted who we left out of the calendar. So.
yeah, I think that's right. And I guess the second thing is important to remember that some of the events do change. It's published this time of year, and full year out, there are sometimes cancellations. So if you do want more information, certainly feel free to contact either the Public Utilities Office or the New Ulm City Hall. And those numbers are listed in the calendar, so consult those numbers just to double check.
William, are we meeting in May this year? Or are we done in April this year? I thought we extended it a month.
We expanded it to May.
So April is the last one.
May will be the last one.
Okay,
yeah,
it's
May.
not on the May calendar.
Oh. Huh.
Well, if it's the press, I guess there's as much
Yeah,
we
I
can
guess
do
so. We
Yeah.
didn't in this
I didn't
case.
have
The other thing that I had noticed in our October meeting, we talked about moving some of the topics around to different months. And I don't know that that was done either, but we can.
Do you have specific ones that you see here? that are-
Okay, according to the October notes, we were gonna put December's topic to October, the October to November, and the November to December.
And I
From-
guess,
From the, oh, excuse me.
oh, sorry, yeah, I guess I can take that. I was a bit delayed on getting some of those additions to, or to Eileen, so we had some conflicts with the design layout in rearranging those topics.
Okay. Otherwise, we're ready to go on the conservation calendar. Thank you for your work.
Okay, sure, thank you.
Yes.
Any
thank you.
other concerns or comments, commissioners? Okay, thank you again.
Thank you.
And well received, we'll move on to item 4. We received the draft of the Minnesota Valley Action Council Low Income Agreement. We had made a couple of changes at the last meeting, and those are included in the new agreement. Hope all the commissioners had a chance to review that. I believe at this point now would be to recommend to the Public Utilities Commission to take action on that. Is that our next step, William?
Yeah, that's correct. And I guess, I think as it stands currently, we could bring it to the Public Utilities Commission for final approval. However, I thought it would be, just given the overall number of changes that we completed, I thought I'd like to bring back the changes, the completed changes, and just let the Energy Awareness Commission have one last review period before doing that.
Very good.
And then also included in the packet is an example agenda item for the Public Utilities Commission meeting.
I believe all of the changes that we recommended or talked about were in Exhibit A, which is what we got. If you just want to cover them quickly, William?
Okay. And I guess we do have a summary page, so we removed the heat pump measure.
Yes.
And I guess we just found this was not likely to be used, so this was the time to remove that measure. Added wording for ductless mini split systems. I think that could have been covered under the central air conditioning systems beforehand, but this will better define the term. Changed the refrigerator maximum, reduced it to $900. I guess reduced the chest freezer maximum to $400. Changed the clothes washer requirement from a Tier 3 model to a Tier 2 model, which I believe corresponds with the Energy Star rating. So the appliance will still be Energy Star rated, however, it will not be the most efficient rated. That was to reduce the overall pricing and also make availability of the appliances easier to obtain for Minnesota Valley Action Council. The dishwasher maximum was reduced to $550. An LED measure was included, and separate maximum amounts were defined. A $200 maximum for LED installation and a $100 maximum for CFLs. And then I guess I just also noted the maximum pricing does include any administrative charges, delivery and disposal costs. So the overall costs that we may see could be higher than the individual purchase price of the appliance. Does the commission have any additional questions or comments on that?
Well, the last time we met, as I had reviewed that, I had just spoken to you guys after the meeting about, and that's something that's really been on my mind as I think about this. When we get these refrigerators, dishwashers, whatever they are, to these folks that are in rental places, if they move, do they take this with them, or does it stay and then it becomes property of the landlord, which we're not here to buoy his building. We're here to help these people with their stuff. And do we know that it stays, or does it go, or do we know these things?
Well, I think to address the first portion of that question, how it's currently worded is it would be owned by the applicant for the low-income program. So in most cases, that would be the low-income renter of the property. If they were to leave the property, I guess this would be, essentially the appliance would be their own property. They're free to take it along with them to their next location. And I guess, depending on how you look at that, that can be a good thing or a bad thing. For the low-income program, we like to see that those kilowatt-hour savings, the efficiency of the unit stays here in New Ulm. Or I guess, if that can't be your preference, stays within the state of Minnesota.
No, they can't go to be in Brown County, and then they can't go to another county and do the same thing all over again.
Well, I think
Because
there's
they're not
always,
associated over there with New Ulm Public Utilities, they can. If they're out of Minnesota Valley Actions area, and that area goes all the way to Owatonna.
Does, okay.
thank you for bringing that up,
Yeah.
Ricky. I
Yeah,
think that
it's-
was a
it's a-
legitimate.
Okay, well, so it's not county by county then?
But nothing says they can't sell it and go to another town and ask for it again. So this should be limited to one per year or whatever.
Well,
So I'm gonna move to Owatonna, and I'm gonna sell my refrigerator, whatever it is, to my son. Because I know when I'm gonna go to Owatonna, I'm gonna get another one from
Well,
MVAC.
especially if you're buying one for $900, you can get a pretty nice refrigerator for $900.
Your children could get very nice appliances,
Yeah, yeah.
and people will do it.
Well, I'm sure they do, and
But
I
see,
have
we
no
don't have-
trouble with giving a hand up, but to give handouts again and again, that's kind of another.
But we don't have any
Issue.
power over MVAC for how many times they help a customer. Because once
Correct.
they're out of our area here, out of New Ulm,
All
they're
we
gone,
can
buddy.
do is
They're
enter
history.
into the contract with them,
yep.
and
And if they don't catch it over there, they
yeah,
just lucked out.
it's not our job to police these people.
Yeah.
And I understand that. I do.
But I know where you're coming from, and it's a legitimate concern. No doubt it'll happen, and if we were to set up some other rules, I'm sure they would find ways around that too.
And that, I think those are good questions to discuss with the Minnesota Valley Action Council. I guess, I'm not aware of the type of tracking that they do in their own side of
Yeah.
things as far as, I think they wouldn't give one customer multiple rebates per year if they were to sell an appliance, but as far as their long-term tracking, I'm not familiar with that. And then I guess, as was discussed, the coordination with other action agencies around the state,
Yeah.
that does seem to be their structure, as they do the services for several counties, and then there's multiple agencies throughout the state.
See, I didn't know that went all the way to Owatonna.
Well, yeah, they
Yeah.
cover a big chunk of southern Minnesota.
Well, that's good.
Out through Fairmont and,
Well, that
All over.
that makes it's smaller for them to do stuff.
right, but you see, our money only stays with the workings of New Ulm Public Utilities.
Right,
Our money doesn't go to Owatonna.
right, right.
It was set up just to be in with the customers here.
But they know there what we do here.
Yeah.
Yep, that information would be generally available, I would think, between utilities. So it may be something to bring up in our future discussions to see if there's any wording changes that could avoid that. I guess I would think in general, I agree with Chair Firth that, there's only a certain amount of rules that you can put into a
Right.
program, and it's
But if they
fine.
left New Ulm, went to Sleepy Eye REA, spent a year there, and it turned around and come back here, then they could reapply again. But that's just something we gotta work on.
Well, that was my concern.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank you. Other than that, then,
Wasn't there something that they had to have an appliance before we just come in and give them another appliance, though, somewhere along the line? I mean, they just can't say my washer's out and my refrigerator's out without having something
Yeah.
there.
Let's throw it away.
I mean,
Yep, that,
it seems to me we talked about that somewhere along the line, that
Yeah, I suppose that would be true, is that does need to be a replacement, unless it's for an emergency type situation. So, I guess there'd still potentially be ways around that. You could buy a non-working appliance or something like that. But I think there are some safety or kind of protocols that are built in to avoid some of these pitfalls.
basically what it comes down to, we have to trust Minnesota Valley Action Council to administer this properly. And I think over the last 2 years that we've been in agreement with
been
them,
pretty good.
things have worked out pretty well. So I don't want to anticipate problems that won't happen.
Can I ask a really stupid question? When you got your dishwashers here, is that for portable or is that built in?
I believe in general that's for built-in. I'm not sure that our measure actually specifies that.
That's why I was wondering.
To me, as far as it's Energy Star rated, doesn't make me any difference.
Yep.
We're just wondering.
I don't believe that it specifies if it's portable or built-in, just specifies that it's Energy Star.
Okay.
And
I
so to my understanding, it could be either or.
Like I said, it was a stupid question, but I was gonna ask
no.
it anyway.
No, that's legitimate.
Okay,
I
Doug.
believe the next thing we could do was submit the request for Public Utilities Commission action. You've
make
got a
that.
copy of the agenda item there.
I'll make that.
Motion been made by Rick,
so second.
second by Lonnie, to approve the request for PUC action. All members in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Next item is our home show participation. William?
Well, unfortunately, I guess I've just recently received the paperwork for the home show, and I forgot to discuss that at our staff meeting earlier today. But I think there's still plenty of time to determine an overall theme, and I think there would be enough topics between various rebate programs. We could highlight one of them for our home show. On the attached form, there is an area where if it's submitted before January 5th, they give you a slight discount, $25 discount. I believe one possibility would be for us to confirm home show participation, purchase at least one booth for the home show, and then potentially submit an official topic to them at a later time. So I thought I would bring that before the Energy Awareness Commission. And I guess if you do have anything or thoughts on a theme to proceed with, I would take those down and maybe report them back to the Public Utilities Commission.
I don't know
staff.
about a theme, but we darn sure need a better location than last year.
Oh, yeah.
We discussed that.
Yeah, we unfortunately our positioning within the display area was not perfect last time around. And I think that does vary a bit by the actual theme and where they locate you.
My thinking is if we can commit to it now, maybe we'll get up on the list for preferential
Yeah.
sites.
It's either a little higher up on the list or no list at all. Because it don't pay to be put out in the far corner out there where nobody can walk that long during the day to get there.
And I think we still had, a good amount of traffic, but was kind of hard to see our display as you came through. You would have had to be traveling around to see all of the booths.
Well, are they gonna put them all close to the plumbing and heating ones instead of plumbing and heating way down here and all of a sudden we're way up here and, are we gonna at least try to be close to them this time?
And I guess as far as preference for booth positioning, typically I request that we're located near, if the tree commission does a booth or other city entities do a booth, to be near them. I think there's a lot of crossover between rebate programs and information. Other than that, I'm not sure their criteria for where they put the various booths.
Probably have to look and see when the next New Ulm Business and Retail Association meeting is and maybe put a pitch into them.
Yeah.
They're the ones that put the show on, and if we let our wishes known, perhaps they will get honored better.
And perhaps a second thing to discuss before we move on to an additional topic would be our requirements for the booth. I think this year, most likely, no partnership. I think last year we had Minnesota Valley Action Council with us.
Yeah, well,
I think we could combine everything into one booth this year.
I agree.
I mean, it was the right size.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they left their stuff there and they walked away, but that was,
Yeah, unfortunately, Minnesota Valley Action Council did not have the staff available to be there for all of the days, but I think the content was still worthwhile to have.
Okay, so my question is, are we willing to participate again, March 24th through 26th?
yeah, I will.
I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make it.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded that we will participate in the Home and Health Show, March 24th through 26th, 2017. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? We're in. Here comes the hardest part, election of officers.
I'll stay.
You want to be vice chair, Rick?
Sure, why not?
You want to be chair?
No, that's your job, man. I only speak it to English. I don't understand. No, but I'll stay where I'm at.
Are there any other nominations? Please.
Take my wife, please.
If not,
You can nominate one of them over there.
teach them to miss a meeting. If not, entertain a motion to nominate Bill Firth as chair and Rick Hauk as vice chair.
Or should we table the chair one until next month?
They may never show up if they find out. We have a quorum, we can do it now. Or if you want to wait for another month, we can wait for another month.
I'll do it anyway, so it doesn't make me no difference.
Yeah, I make a motion to do it.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded that Bill Firth remain chair and Rick Hauk as vice chair for 2017. All in favor of said motion, say aye.
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 Opposed? Now's the time, Rick.
No, that's okay.
Okay. That's approved. Are there any other comments or concerns, commissioners? I believe our next meeting is scheduled for January 10th. If we have nothing else to cover, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll say welcome back there, Rick, to the fold there again.
It's nice to come outside.
Nice to have you back.
Nice to come outside again.
Well, that's your choice, never to come outside, right?
You know,
But yeah,
it was a bad
Guess we're
time. Okay.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
all right, thank you.